I really wanted to finish Bayo 3 before we got to this week, but
You're
like
right there. You're like,
it sucks, man. I knew we were like do we I knew we could do it in one, but it was going to take all night,
yeah.
and we hit like somewhere around like 6 hours or so, and
Well,
then like
hey, this works out because now I get to ask you where you at exactly.
so the last thing I saw was a series of look behind yous, including the
Oh,
big one. And that one I was describing as so again, I guess some Bayonetta 3
massive
spoilers.
fucking Bayo 3 spoilers coming in.
Tune out if you don't want to hear anything about spoiling Bayonetta 3. So I literally we had to stop right at the end of the reveal of Singularity and then the stab in the back, right?
Did you fight the boss or did you stop at
I think that cutscene just played and that was it.
okay. Okay.
That cutscene played, and then no, wait, no. I took control of Madama Butterfly,
Okay.
and that was I was like, oh, we're doing kaiju controls. And it's like, no, this is a bit
No,
better.
no, you're just a big
Yeah,
character.
yeah. And I was confused at first because I was trying to do Bayo moves, and it's like, no, don't do Bayo moves. Do the moves you bought for Madama Butterfly. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, perfect, great, that's cool, great. Um, yeah, so I
You are
remember.
you are right there. You are like
I know, and we could have kept pushing it for another 2 to 3, but like Reggie was dying, was super tired, and like
I don't.
we pushed it on that sesh, so we're just
Okay,
gonna have to pick
so
it up. Uh,
um that France level's way better than
Dude,
the desert.
Paris is incredible.
Yeah.
Paris was fire. Like it was so good after that desert apology, because the desert, again, they give you here's Malthus and the Phantom. We're
Yeah.
sorry, right? And here's like 8 weapons. Like we're sorry. Now go to Paris, and it's just like it's one of the best levels in the entire franchise.
Absolutely. And
Paris
the
was
weapon you get out of there, you're playing as the clock tower.
Paris.
Like
Yeah, not
that's
like
great.
I was waiting for like Rosa is my favorite character, like playable style. Like I love Rosa, and I was waiting for like the Umbran armor to show up in some way or form. This integration of it, where you're getting 2 in 1 with this awesome clock tower, so
Mhm.
good. And then the weapon you get with it, the fucking shield fists, like
Yeah, no, it's great.
um, one of my favorite Bayonetta fucking sequences. And then on top of that, the mini game where you're shmupping, I'm like, you
Yeah.
know what? This is landing, right?
Yeah.
The
It's the
shmup
best one they've
reference,
made by far.
Gradius into Raiden
Mhm.
into for from your kind of Star Fox view, like it actually really worked out for that weird scanner demon. And then even that one little room, I thought it was going to be a much more in-depth mechanic. It was just one room of like scan to not fall in the pit. It
Mhm.
looked really cool. I was like, oh, you could have done more of this if you wanted. I wouldn't have minded if maybe not a fight in the dark, but the little echolocation bit was like, oh yeah, okay,
God,
that's
that was
interesting.
one room.
It was one room
There had to have been more rooms that they cut because that was one. That was
for
weird.
sure, and it was a fleshed out mechanic for something that definitely had one use. The only other time you used it was to fight the invisible enemies in that one fight.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
So that was pretty much it. But it was very cool. I really didn't mind that at all. Really interesting that the clock tower plays as such a unique thing. It stays
Mhm.
out and it stays active, and you continue to act like it does what you thought the slaves would be doing the entire time.
It
Essentially,
also does a great job of recontextualizing what's actually happening in the intro of Bayo 1 and 2.
yeah, the falling clock tower,
Like, that's
right?
a dead demon that you're writing down. It's not
You
a building.
The clock tower is a super important part, and it's not just because it was like, oh, the building blew up. It was yeah, absolutely. And the armor and the role that plays in the wars and such. Like, okay, that is great. It's what's one of the coolest fucking, if not the coolest so far. Can't say enough good things about Paris. Um, then
There's
yeah,
only one thing I didn't like about Paris at all,
mm,
and that was Rosa, look behind you. Ugh. French Bayo look behind.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's the point where I hit. I'm like, oh, they're just gonna kill all of them.
French Bayo has a great outfit. That's that purple and white color, the
She's a
wine
blue
red
mage.
wine. I saw King slash Isabella Valentine,
Okay,
out
I
of
see
it.
it. Yeah, yeah.
Really cool. But the yeah, no, it quickly became I suppose the word would be a contrivance. Was
Oh
that
yeah. No, that's the
we
exact phrase.
right? We need to get rid of these alt world Bayos. And oh my god, so here's the weirdest feeling in the world. The weirdest fucking feeling. Um Balzabul, right? Or Balzabub.
Beelzebub.
Um well, but it wasn't but it was spelled
Oh,
Balzabub.
is it spelled weird?
It wasn't spelled Beelzebub. Like it was
Okay.
actually spelled ball, like yeah. Like that fucking sequence and reveal and that whole musical bit. I was like, hold on, rhythm? And it's like, yes, rhythm. It is a fucking amazing finale to that amazing level. And while you're popping off at how cool it is, just like last time, they cut to French Bayo floating in the air, just cracking open because you attack her because she's evil at that point or being controlled. And it's the weirdest, like, am I supposed to pop off at watching these Bayos die? Like, what does the game want me to feel right here? Because the thing that you did is where the bad guy gets it, right? And then you watch them explode and you're like, ah, and then you're flexing because you got the cool demon. But you just watch someone that you're like, oh, but I like that, but I like all these alt Bayo fun things. Like, what does Platinum want me to feel watching them just die over and over again? I don't know what you're going for, you
Hmm.
know? And in that case, it wasn't even the, like, oh no, right? Or the
Yeah,
Egypt,
no one cares.
like the Farinetta one, she's like, I'll do it, right? You can't do it, so I'll sacrifice myself, right? They have these moments of like, oh, but they're just getting faster and faster, and by the time it's time for French Bayo to go, they just cut to her like popping like fireworks in the middle of a flex, and then cuts back to Balzabub being all like, yeah.
So I went and I wanted to, you know, get my head back in the game. Like there was something I wanted to tell you about Balls of Ball, but I didn't quite remember because I couldn't remember what the boss looked like. So I went back and looked at the boss. I was like, oh, now I remember. Balls of Ball is a Platinum game reference. It's Simone from Nier Automata.
Oh, shit. I didn't catch that. Obviously you look at
Like
Al Rune.
the both hands out like "Wah!" thing. It's like the
Yeah.
same.
Okay, okay. Because Al Rune is a reference to 101 what's her face? Jesus Christ.
Fucking pink.
No, 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 no. The villain girl. Yeah.
Fucking. I don't know.
I just had it and
Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry, it's not important.
okay.
It's just
Okay.
Wonderful
All right.
101.
All right. Anyways, the Jesus Christ. I'm sorry. This is bugging me.
Oh, you can't remember? Oh,
I used it in the episode title even.
and then
Vision.
I'm trying to find the cutscenes that you've seen.
Vision.
Vision. Okay.
Vijonn.
I'm trying to find the fucking fight against what's it called? I was just looking at it. Where you're playing as big what do you call it? Big
Butterfly.
Madama Butterfly.
Yeah.
Or really it's like the big fucking spaceship.
Yeah, I was like kind of looking at that thing and going like the first phase of it. I was like, please don't just be dodging me in the background the whole time. I want to get this. I want to swing. And then they show up on the ship, and you're like, great, taking full control of Madame Butterfly is awesome. I'm glad that everyone agrees and they all know Madame Butterfly rules. She's the favorite. Let's get more fucking time with her. Everyone felt the same on that, and I like when we're all in agreement that she's the best. But yeah, then you get to the fucking singularity reveal, and it's just like, oh my god, like all the power of the Umbran witches and 2 brain cells between them. Okay, sure. Dr. Sigurd, pleasure to meet you. Sigurd Larity.
It's awful.
Yeah, and so the only thing to say is, so I watched it happen, and it went down so quickly and so unceremoniously when Jean gets stabbed that
Look behind you, Jean. Oh, I'm
right. So, like, I don't know. So everyone has played and beaten this game at this point. So you guys all know the future, right? So you probably did not get this sequence paused in a weird way for you, the way I did, so that I'm processing it differently, right? So you guys went straight through from that moment all the way to the credits, and you know what you know. As someone,
the mission that we're talking about, where you fight fucking the boss, and you fight Strider again as like a demon.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
Everybody went from that to the end.
Exactly, right? So I need to remind people that, like, what it's like from, just to give you a perspective here that I'm having, because when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's not real, right? Because it was so unceremonious and nonsense, and people were like, copium, look at you cope, and I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like, if this were any other medium, you watch a moment like that happen in that way, and you're going, yeah, sure, that's a Thanos snap.
And then the episode ends, and they come come back next season on the X-Files.
Precisely, right? And it's like, and it's not, and it's like, it's not to say that, like, that suddenness is an impossible route to go with it, but it's to say this: either that's not real and it's a Thanos snap where you're watching Spider-Man die and you're going, you're looking at the money that Spider-Man makes and you're going, yeah, fuck off, right? Like, the entire time. Or there needs to be a conversation with a ghost before the credits roll, because you don't go that way with a major character with nothing, right? So if we have to go, if it's real, then you're like, all right, well, I'm waiting to see which one of the JoJo buddies is going to have a conversation floating into the sky, you know? But one way or another, it happened so suddenly that it was like, oh, that isn't real, is the impression you get while flowing through it.
So I completely understand exactly what you mean, and I totally agree with you.
Okay. That's the bit.
And I will say no more, because anything I add to that conversation would be confirmation or deconfirmation.
But I just it was like, you know, but that's just more of like putting it in the air, like, remember when in that moment, anyway, whatever, I've repeated it, but like,
no, I get it.
When you know for sure, you have a different perspective on things, which is what all of this is, really, right?
I will say, however, let's leave Jen getting killed in like a second, and then like her body being thrown to the trash to the side for a moment, because I wanted to talk. I was like, I'm going through the cutscene right now, because I'm like, what happens in that cutscene exactly? And what happens is, to me, like, the largest part of jumping the shark is Strider is so cool. Strider is the coolest thing in the world. And because of Strider, we're now going to get the lamest character in Bayonetta history, Fairy Luca, as the biggest, lamest fucking dweeb ever. To just show up and be like, I'm magic.
Yeah,
like,
so I'm staring at Lucaon or whatever he introduced himself as.
I don't know his name. I can't even remember.
I think it was Lucaon, and I don't have any feelings because I don't understand what I'm looking at. He was in one cutscene. Viola went, "What the fuck?" And he was like, "Ugh." And then that was it. There's not enough to feel anything. currently.
Just like
Like
he's standing there.
you're saying what you're saying, and I'm like, I guess, but right now he's an NPC that like said a little bit and then showed up again. We're waiting to see what the fuck is
Yeah, so like
like
I felt
what?
that way from seeing him because I'm like Luca is like a dweeb and a loser. And then we just meet this wise version of Luca who just like the first two times we run into him, he's just like standing around like looking wise, but he's not doing anything.
Yeah,
He's
he
just
just you meet him once. You meet him once, and
I'm Magic Luca.
he shows up then, and I don't know.
Okay.
There's nothing else to say about it. I was saying at some point in the past, even before he showed up, I remember I was saying something to the effect of like, if we have to stomach some sort of ungodly pairing, like, is it that there's a cooler, non-stupid version of this character that was actually able to make, you know what I mean? Like is whatever, I don't know. I'm still in the speculation zone here, but I'm like, oh, like is it not as bad as it sounds, where it's like you smash two and who together, and it's more
I think it's in the goddamn notes, but I think the implication is that there are so many universes in which Luca is a cool werewolf.
okay, sure.
That when the universes are merging, sometimes he becomes a cool werewolf.
Yeah, I just don't understand why Luca was getting, why so much play about him.
Okay,
I mean,
Wooly, you're a smart man. You're smarter than me in many respects. You can answer that question yourself with the pieces you have.
I don't like that answer. I'm looking elsewhere.
That's what it really is.
I'm looking elsewhere because I don't like that answer. I put it back down on the crime scene, and I'm continuing to search for answers. And we'll find them when we get to the final session this week. So,
Man, when is that? Because I want to watch that.
well, it's gonna take another day to get back to, Montreal. So, at least Wednesday.
Okay, because man, I gotta get my fucking eyeballs on that.
Yeah.
Because you are in a very weird spot.
Didn't want to stop, but
All the parts that people are really mad about are gonna start right away
oh boy.
for you.
I'm glad that, so there was an important moment that like we took at the beginning of last session, which was like, as I started, I'm like, let me remind myself why I love Bayonetta. What am I looking for, right? What do I want? What do I like? The action, the fun, the combat, the way it feels when you parry something, when you dodge something, when you like crush it, when you get a perfect pure platinum, the way it feels when enemies are aggressive and you're able to keep above them, the way it feels when that aggression is like not just snail bullshit, but like actually like an enemy that is, rising and chasing you down and has a pattern that's just like, the way you fight Strider or the way you fight Gracious and Glorious.
That snail.
Right? The snail represents the opposite of like fun aggression in that it's with the frost shit. Yeah. And the clouds.
So there's an enemy that exists in a character action game that's actually remarkably similar to Snail and its problems, but people don't hate it as much because it's cool looking. And it's Blitz from DMC4.
Blitz! You're so right. It is. It is. Blitz is the flow stopper, and you can learn to fucking deal with it the perfect way if you can get your busters down. But yeah,
Blitz turns on and goes, you don't get to play for 10, 15, 20 seconds, and then he gets tired and he goes, now you can play. And that's the same way the fucking snail works.
Totally. Yeah, it's not your turn. And furthermore, you now have to deal with that with Viola, right? So you're not dealing with that with someone who's equipped for that matter. Absolutely like Blitz. Totally.
You know what else I hate? That fucking two-headed dragon that just stomps around.
Oh, it's that thing. That's annoying. It's just
you fight it a bunch too. I don't know why they liked it so much.
Or anything with the fire leg shit. Like just like, okay, we get it. The floor is lava. We can't stand here. Whatever. Like kill me because you're out DPSing me, right? With
You're
swings
too
and
fast. It's not that you're so big that I can't. You don't fit on the fucking screen.
or standing here is death. Oh, cloud death is fogging my fucking like.
You know what?
Stop it!
You know what was really strange?
Fuck, hit me.
You know how you
know?
fight the really, really big dudes that are just big mans, and like the camera can only come up to like their shoulder. What the fuck is that decision? You fought in Bayo 1, you fight a Beloveds as like the largest consistent enemy type, and they're always completely on screen.
Yeah.
In Bayo 2, you fight a number of much larger, but the camera comes all the way back so that you can always see
The
their whole thing.
airships, yeah, the air demons and angels and shit like that. I mean, like Jubileus is, you know, the camera drops beneath the fucking frame to make sure you can see as much as you can to swing at it when you're running around in the sphere and shit like that. But then, yeah, not only that enemy in the totem pole, right, is always usually above. You're attacking it, but it's out of the frame because like you're looking. You can tilt up to check, but like ultimately you're trying to not get your fucking demon killed. So the totem pole is also just kind of like, I don't know, man, do damage until it gets down and breaks the shield, you know?
I'm looking right now, Woolie. Chapter 13 is called Kingdom of One, which is the last one you did. Chapter 14 is the end of the game.
Yep.
And you will bust that out with talking and when
Sure.
hour 10.
Sure.
Like you're right there.
Yep. I saw someone say 1. I saw someone say 2 to 3. You know, whatever. Woolly time. I stop to discuss things. I read. So
That final fight's pretty
sure.
fucking go.
Sure.
Though.
But all this to say that I'm glad that I reminded myself of why I like these games, because that sequence in Paris is one of my favorite in the franchise. Like
It's pretty good.
I want to iterate. I'm taking this above the moniker of just a best in Bayo 3. Like no, 1, 2 as well. Excellent level.
I wish that the France section was more indicative of the whole game.
Could have been. It really could have been, you know. And Tokyo was fine. Like,
I liked Tokyo.
Tokyo was totally fine. Like, so that's the thing is like it makes me think like it really could have been that way. You know, the detours into fire level China and desert level Egypt, just you know, China was
the environment is so bland. It's the Great Wall the whole way.
That's it, man. And it was the introduction of that too big but nothing to fill it with problem, you know?
Yeah.
And then, of course, running around in the, I mean, I forget the name of the goddamn thing, but the overworld of nothing. Unreal Overworld, you know what I mean?
The Sonic Frontier land?
Yeah, like like when that starts getting angry, it gets like a little more interesting. But while you're just doing like the calm sort of overworld version of it, it's like it's not any more visually interesting than Vigrid. It's not any more visually interesting than Fimbulventer, you know? Like,
dude, did you get all the 4 like LP pieces that unlock the secret boss?
Yes, and I did the secret boss, and it was Gollum.
It took me like 90 seconds, and I smoked it in the dirt. It was so disappointing.
I couldn't. I was like, "That's it.
That's
Gollum."
It.
Okay, cool. Nice to see you, buddy. You know. Man, yeah. So, anyways, the whatever, the memory of Paris lives on as we move forward, and then
we'll always have Paris.
We'll always have Paris.